Hi, my name is Josh Garrick, and today I'm going to be talking about some selected problems from CS 1371 Homework 2. First, we're going to start with Homework 2, Problem 1, making vectors. So, again, this is how the problem will be sent in the homework file, just to give you the background information of which one we're working with. So the function name is makeVec with two inputs, both type double. One would be an integer value n that is guaranteed to be greater than 0, and the other is a vector of unknown length with various numbers. Our one output is a vector made by following the directions in the description, and the description tells us that the function takes an integer n and a vector of numbers and creates a new vector through the following steps. 1 by making a vector that goes from 1 to n in steps of 2. 2 by making a vector b of n evenly spaced parts between 0 and 2 times pi. And 3, make a vector c that is all the even numbers of the input vector. 4, the last part is to concatenate all three vectors together in the order a, b, c. And when you get that code written out, it's going to look like what's above the dotted line. So we're going to have that function. And below the dotted line, we actually have what it looks like when you're walking through what the function actually does. So if you're given n as 5 and the vector 2, 3, 5, 4, 0, 4, 1, 0, 4, and we would first go from a with a, so a equals 1 to n in steps of 2, so n is 5, so you're going to get the vector 1, 3, 5. B, to get vector b, we would use linspace, and we would go from 0 to 2 pi with 5 numbers evenly spaced out. So you'd be given these decimals, which is 5 uniformly spaced numbers between 0 and 2 times pi. And for C, we would use the command vec mod vec2 equals 0, which in a non-computing language, we're finding the numbers in vec, which was our given vector, that are divisible by 2, and we're finding the logical statement of those that are, if it is equal to 0, then we want the numbers that are returned as zeros. We want the actual numbers from the original vec. So in the original vector, the numbers that are divisible by 2 are 2, 4, 0, and 4. So we have that as the final piece of our vector. And the result is the vector a, b, and c all put together as shown at the bottom. So there are multiple test cases you can test, but this should work every time when you're trying to make this vector from this homework problem. Okay, we're going to be going through 2 more problems. So in homework 2, problem 6, called tug of war, the function name is pair compare. We want a 1 by n vector of values where n is guaranteed to be an even number. In the output, we want a logical value this time, a 1 by n over 2 vector of true and falses where the vector is true if team 1's players are stronger than team 2's. So the function description, the function takes in a vector representing 2 teams playing tug of war where each spot represents the strength of an individual. Players are labeled from 1 to n over 2, starting at the ends and moving towards the center. The function is going to return a vector of half the size of the original that has a true by every spot where team 1's player is stronger than team 2's player. The comparison is made starting at the ends and moving inwards. So getting that code all typed into MATLAB, it's going to look something like this above the dotted line with our one output and one input. So again, walking through what our function actually does, we have function out pair compare of the vector. So n is going to equal the length of the vector. So n would equal 8 for this given vector. Team 1 is going to be vec of 1 to n over 2, which is going to be 1 to the halfway point of the vector. So that's going to be team 1. So 7, 4, 8, 3 from the given one. Team 2 equals flip LR of vec of n over 2 plus 1 to the n. And just to break that down, you're going to find in vec, you're going to index out from the halfway point plus 1. So you're not taking from the other vector from team 1, you want team 2 only, to the very end of the vector. And then you're going to use flip LR, so you can flip which is a function that will flip that vector around, so that you can compare each spot to the corresponding team player on each team. Our output is going to be team 1 is greater than team 2, and it's going to return trues where team 1 is greater than team 2, which is only in one position for this given vector. And you can use this for many different test cases as well. This one should work. Okay, and moving on to our last question we're going to talk about today. We're going to homework 2, problem 7, double the trouble. The function name is double up, with one input, a 1 by n vector of numbers, and one output, a new vector identical to the original, except that each spot is repeated once. So the description is that the function takes in a vector and then returns a new vector where each spot has been repeated once. For example, if the input vector were 2, 4, 6, then the output vector would be 2, 2, 4, 4, 6, 6. And looking at what it would look like typed into MATLAB, we have function final vec equals double up of vec. So if our given input vector was 1, 2, 3, 4, in MATLAB what our function would do was first make a copy of the vector. So we have copy vec equals vec, it's the same thing. Then our new vector would be copy vec placed on top of vec, so we have an array this time. Then we're going to linearize that vector, so it's going to put everything in one straight column vector, as you can see. And our final vector is going to be that linearized vector transposed. So it's just really manipulating vectors and arrays how you want to do them so you can get that doubled up vector in the end. So that's what we have with that. It should work with pretty much any other test case you want to put in there. So those 3 problems are really just an overview of a lot of stuff you can do with vectors and arrays and how you can manipulate them to how you want to. There's so many other things you can do, and there's probably many other ways you could have solved those problems. That's just how I did them, but I felt like those really encompassed what we were trying to go over this week in CS 1371. Thanks.